internet for who he really was.
But apparently some people say, well, why did he not go to jail? And apparently it's because the way that he was set up, it's not admissible as evidence in court. Apparently he got totally canceled on the internet. He fell apart. He went from being a YouTuber who had a prominent channel and everything to basically like, you know, done. And hey, again, that's all I know from what I've heard, word of mouth. I've never watched a documentary. I haven't done research for myself. That's all I know, okay? And can I be honest here? Because I will be honest with all of you, because people have been asking me about this for the past couple of days. First documentary Mike Klum does is on Boogie.
You know, we're all incredibly grateful when something doesn't go the way we wanted, that we're able to get out of it in a nick of time. Whether let's say, for example, it's going to cost us our job, to a situation where avoid an argument with a dear friend, stuff like that. However, in DSP's case, he's decided to say that he did a great job of not doing the documentary because of X reasons. And if you guys want to know what I'm talking about, instead of me flapping my gums, let's just get right into the video. Shall we?
It's tough. I'm being pulled in all these different directions, all the stuff I have to do right now. Just to give you another piece of perspective, can you imagine?
Can I imagine what, Phil, that you still are here for the past 15, going on your 16th year, and yet somehow, some way, YouTube has yet to kick you off the platform? Yeah, I'm amazed by that.
If while all this is going on and I'm so busy with everything, can you imagine if I had gone through with the documentary that I was talking about doing a couple months ago? I was supposed to start filming like right about now.
That documentary would have helped you out greatly, okay? The fact of it is you pulled at the last minute because there are certain things that you had to bring to light, such as your addiction to WWE champions. You was trying to dodge that.
So can you imagine me being in the middle of all these games that I'm already backlogged on, right? Working on these projects, the Throwback channel, and now telling you guys, oh,
first and foremost, nobody cares about your Throwback channel. That was a waste of time. You pretty much only did that to suck more money out of your dents. Secondly, the games that you still want to play, you're playing them now, but yet once again, you're not doing that well. And each time you get deep into a game, for example, you begin into Tekken that pretty late, pretty well. You've been literally hinting that you want to retire that game because you're getting your ass handed to you.
Hey, now I can't stream. This week, you know, it's going to be a half week.
I'll knock your mother 2 teeth right out of your damn head.
Yeah, him and that fucking snorting.
And stuff like that, you know. So, I mean, I think, quite honestly, I dodged a big bullet there. And what I mean by that is not to say that working with a documentary with Mike Klum is a bullet, but I don't think that, honestly, with the situation I'm in my life, right, that I would have been able to handle that at all. It would have been overload.
Would have been overload. What? Did you also had another documentary come up with CBN or NBS or whatever? No, you just had one thing to do with Mike Klum, and pretty much you would have gone right back to doing what you do best, begging online.
As I've already reiterated previously, imagine if I was trying to do that. Now, the thing is, this is very important. You know, a documentary about me would have had to be done well, and basically, imagine if I'm just like at my wit's end, stressed out, overworked, and now
I beg to differ.
Stressed out, overworked. If you're talking about you're stressed out because you're low on funds, that's your problem. Overwork? No. You're at home all day.
Not being that good, right? Because, you know, it's just as much Mike Klum working on a documentary as it is me. You know, I would be a major part of the impact.
Clarify, actually, let me make this crystal clear. The only person that was doing work was Mike Klum, and I feel bad for him in the situation because he lost out on time and money thanks to Phil pulling out at the last minute.
Now, how am I going to be creative? How am I going to be entertaining? Mario Brothers, classic Zelda, you know, old Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger. How am I going to be going around different filming locations and doing all this kind of stuff when I'm already exhausted to my wit's end, right? I just don't think it would have worked, being honest, especially my lifestyle and how much that I work and everything.
The only way it wouldn't have worked is if you was hoping it would be a little puff piece. And I'm certainly sure Mike Klum was doing the best he can to get you to open up more and more. And when he was doing that, trying to help you out, you thought it was going to be a setup, and that's why, again, you pulled out. That's just my 2 cents, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine if, like, these weeks, I was like, by the way, guys, 3 days this week I can't stream at all. The other 3 days, it's half days.
Okay, so if that's the case, then why don't you just stream 2 days out of the week, and the other 2 days you could just take off and, you know, take care of other things, such as, again, the documentary and the other stuff, Phil. It's called about having a schedule, a structured schedule, Phil. That way, a better one, because the type of schedule you have is chaotic. But if you had a structured schedule where you say, okay, Monday I'll stream and Friday I'll stream, and then these other 2 days I can do something else, that would help you out, Phil. Do you do something like that? No.
Just because I'm, you know, filming all over the place. Oh, by the way, I also have to work on my
Filming all over the place. You only feel at home.
Oh, by the way, we're in the midst of 300-hour games that I'm never going to finish, and there's more coming that I have to see.
You don't finish those games because 9 times out of 10, you pretty much rage quit them because either the game's too hard for you, you know it's really not, you just suck at video games, or 2, you're not making the money that you're hoping for.
Now, because I'm working on a documentary, right? See, I think the difference
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
here is, when you look at someone who can work on a documentary, I'm going to be honest, it's probably someone who just has a lot of time, that they're not particularly doing something too important with their time, that they have time to do that shit.
Did you think about Mike Clum's time? You know, all that time he put in that you threw to the wayside? Clearly you didn't. You don't care about anybody else's time except for yours.
Like, I'm just constant. Everywhere I go is work, got stuff going on here, busy with my personal life. You know, I got shit going on. I don't have time to just drop everything and just be filming. So,
Hey.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna say it one more time. If he snorts again, I'm gonna snap.
I do think that I dodged a bullet there. And on top of that, people are saying, I guess, that Mike Klum is now working on a documentary with this guy EDP.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why Mike decided he wants to do a documentary of all people that PDF. Mike, if you ever watch this video, drop him, please don't. That's the one person I hope you don't, because anybody that associates with a PDF, and you know there's been evidence proving that, you need to get away from them immediately. If you decide you want to support them, then you're just as guilty as they are.
Absolutely nothing about this guy. I've never followed him. I never watched his content.
That was bullshit.
That's a big fat lie. Everybody know who EDP is. Come on.
All I know is that he's infamously known on the internet that apparently he was caught out trying to meet with underage girls. I think that's what it is, right?
Yes, that's what he was caught out for, Phil.
So don't quote me on that. But I think that that's the case. That, like, he was a YouTuber who was popular, and then at some point, he got framed, essentially. Like, people were catfishing him so that he would show up.
Fucking chivalry is dead. This guy is suave. Now that is how you flirt. That's a good line for Tinder, I'd say. If you guys need any help on, like, your game, take notes from EDP. Dropped a mean-ass shit. And then send an audio message. Do I have to go to the other ones in order to... He sent a picture of his shit? No, fucking... Alright, hold on. Okay. Oh! He sent a picture of his shit! Dropped in...
No, he was not framed. What happened was the people that got him, and believe me, the people who did brought him out to attention, they ain't no good people neither, but proof evidence that he was interested in underage girls. And there was another time at that situation where somebody else showed proof of text him talking to underage girls. So no, it's not framed. He actually was interested in underage children.
Underage girls, and then come to find out it was just a frame job. Like, they totally set him up to expose him on the internet for who he really was. But apparently some people say, well, why did he not go to jail? And apparently it's because the way that he was set up, it's not admissible as evidence in court.
Yeah, because they screwed up. I already said that, Phil.
Like, technically, because they set him up like that, no crime was ever committed, so he never was held accountable.
And I do apologize, I can't remember the name of the group that did expose EDP. You can put those people down in the comments below, but yeah, they did that, but they ain't no saints neither, because they were pretty much caught saying racial jokes that was definitely not funny.
Behavior. He got totally canceled on the internet. He fell apart. He went from being a YouTuber who had a prominent channel and everything to basically, like, you know, done. And hey, again, that's all I know from what I've heard, word of mouth. I've never watched a documentary.
Reason why he's now down in the complete trash is because there was no evidence proving that he was not into it. There was just overwhelming evidence proving that he was into that type of stuff. Again, the people that set him up screwed that all up. Instead of letting the local authorities handle it, which I tell everybody, please let them take care of it, so that way these people can actually go to prison.
I haven't done research for myself. That's all I know, okay? And can I be honest here? Because I will be honest with all of you, because people have been asking me about this for the past couple.
Oh, you are never honest, so why don't we start with that lie?
Okay? First documentary Mike Klum does is on Boogie.
Which, by the way, was a very piss poor documentary. Well, maybe not piss poor, but definitely half baked, because he tried to put Boogie in a good light, and there was no good light for Boogie whatsoever.
Documentary is about Boogie basically being a miserable human being, the sad, dark life of Boogie, right? But who made Boogie's life sad and dark?
He did by himself, Phil. We all know that.
Was it a group of people who just decided to, ruin his life? No, his life is sad and dark because he is sad and dark.
Just like yours.
Documentary, you see the things in it that, he could improve, he could change for the better, and he just doesn't.
Again, take a good look in the mirror, Phil, because you have pretty much not the exact same thing, but a lot of things similar to what he's going through that you've been doing to yourself. That's why you got so many people making videos on you, such as me.
With trolls on social media, he keeps doing the awful life behaviors. He's a miserable wretch because of his own decisions and actions that don't change.
It's really sad that you're pretty much saying these are the reason why Boogie is this type of person, and yet look at the junk in your own backyard, buddy. I mean, it is high up to make a mountain, and it smells miles away from other countries can smell that crap. Phil, I mean, think about it. If you're gonna talk trash about how bad somebody else is, take a look at the trash in your backyard, buddy. I mean, come on. Don't be throwing stones at glass houses, bud.
And I think what's supposed to happen is you watch it, you feel sorry for him, and it was supposed to turn his life around. Has it turned his life around? No, not at all. He's on a low-cal podcast.
Low-cal, Jesus Christ.
Freaking keeps doing this kind of almost degenerative content on the internet. He's not going to change. It's pretty obvious at this point, correct? So then, Mike Klum comes to me and says, I want to do a different kind of documentary with you. It would not be like Boogie's documentary.
You are the world's dumbest son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was trying to do a very fair documentary. Again, you didn't want to be fair. You want to be like another puff piece that you had with Jeremy.
Covering your life and all the things that you've been through, and basically your history as a content creator on the internet, the ups and downs. And yes, it's going to feature people who don't like you talking about you, right? But at the same time, you'll be able to clap back essentially and give your side of the story of everything going on, and we'll be able to accurately recount what's happened to you and your business and your channels over the years, and why so many people who literally don't know an actual fact about you.
I love how he's trying to go be face about it, make it seem like it would have been fair. And and I already said too many times this video, and well as my other ones were, if it didn't go his way, he pretty much is going to quit. And guess what happened? He quit. So I just love how he's trying to retcon everything, and we know I wouldn't say we know the whole truth, but we know, let's say, a good 70 to 8% of the truth, and it's not that hard to connect the dots.
Don't like you, right? And I like that. I absolutely like that idea, right? And that was essentially what we were going for. It was supposed to be a fair level documentary that's going to cover the good and the bad, but basically if you watched this, it wasn't a pity party documentary. It was going to be more of an honest, and there's going to be some comedy in it, and there was going to be other things in it.
The only way they would have some comedy in it is if if he actually put the tractors making fun of you. Other than that, majority of the times when you're doing comedy, Phil, very dry.
Entertaining piece. When you're making a documentary that's like 90 minutes long, you want people to be enjoying every second of it, not on board in this part or whatever, right? So there was going to be all that stuff, right? But of course,
so he goes from snorting to belching. Real great job, Pig Roach.
We're very apprehensive about it, saying, I don't know if this makes sense to do, because the only documentary that Mike Klum's done up to now is this Boogie documentary that doesn't sound like that, right? It's like basically he turned to Boogie. Well, he didn't turn Boogie. Like, this was their idea, Basically, what he wanted to do was make Boogie look pathetic so that people would feel bad.
Boogie already made himself look pathetic. Mike Klum just screwed that up all by himself.
I said, that's not what I want at all. That's not what I want out of my documentary. I'm not sad. My life's not dark. I actually have a really good life, in regards to my work and my personal life. Just because a million people on the internet talk shit about me daily doesn't mean that I'm not actually in a positive place in my life. That's great. It's the opposite situation of Boogie, right? So, basically, the way I see it, it would have been very different, okay? That's essentially what was discussed. That's what we're going to work on, a different kind of documentary. But now you're going to tell me the next documentary Mike Klum's going to do is this guy, EDP.
Oh, so now you're butthurt that the documentary didn't come out on you. Now you're getting butthurt because he's doing a documentary on this fool. Phil, You had the opportunity. You fucked it up. Completely.
Literally went from YouTube popularity to being exposed supposedly, and I gotta say that because I don't know if there's concrete evidence or not. I can only tell you from what I've seen and heard hearsay on the internet.
How about you just do some proper research? It's not that difficult.
Supposedly, he was exposed for pedophilia, or at least accusations of pedophilia, canceled, and literally no one wants anything to do with this guy anymore, right? So I guess the question is, what's the story, right? And maybe
I'm not going to bother going to the whole story of EDP. Everybody knows what it is. Plus, I don't want this video getting flagged for that stuff.
story is to find out the true story of what happened, but from what everyone says, it's like a slam dunk case. Like, it's not like you can dispute it and say, oh, it was fake. Like, it happened. He was exposed for it, and that's why he got canceled, and that's why he's not prominent anymore, you know. So the thing is, I didn't even know anything about it.
Okay, I'll play along. If you didn't know anything about it, why bring him up? Here's a little piece of advice, Phil. If you don't know something, don't talk about it. Leave it alone until you do the proper research.
Till you guys told me a couple days ago, you're like, are you aware that Mike Clum's working with EDP? And I'm like, no. And then, of course, it started
You already knew that. You saw it in the news feed, so let's even cut that lie out.
showing up in my feed. Boogie has met with EDP, and they're sitting down to eat a meal, and the meal is like a bunch of Big Macs and powdered donuts. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck? All right? Like, no, really, what the fuck? Two guys who are grossly obese, and the meat. It's just weird to me that they're charging $5 for this, when like I said, the McDouble or even the double cheese is like $2, and they're charging over $5 for the extra bun, basically. Okay, one more bite, and then we'll move on to something else. The quarter pounder with cheese. Typically, if I were to go to McDonald's, I would order a quarter pounder. This is the sandwich that I like better. It's honestly way more meat than that. It's way more, my meal. There is no way this was made fresh to order. That is complete bullshit, and I feel that they lie about that. I think what it is the standard burger is like badly frozen. The quarter pounder with cheese. Let's see how this tastes. Well, first of all, immediately, I can tell you, the meat tastes completely different. The meat tastes seasoned. So let's see. Here we go. And it tastes good. The cheese, the onion, the pickles go together well. It's a much better burger. And by the way, it's cheaper than the Big Mac. I think it was like $5.39, and this was $5.69, the Big Mac. So it's cheaper, and it's more meat, and it's better. I'm going to get one more bite, and then we're going to try the chicken sandwich, I think. Okay. Deluxe crispy chicken. Well, the bun is different. It looks like a brioche style bun. See that? Rather than a sesame bun. The bottom up. So there's the chicken breast. It's small. It's pretty small. That's smaller than Wendy's. That's smaller than Burger King. That's smaller. I mean, I'm not even kidding. That's about the size of the McChicken. And the McChicken is supposed to be their discount chicken sandwich. That's like $1 or whatever. This is so small. And this is supposed to be their gourmet crispy chicken. Right. So, for comparison, the Big Mac is $5.69. The quarter pounder with cheese was $5.39. This also, I believe, was about $5.39. So, it's about the same price as the quarter pounder. Okay?
You're also fat as well.
Big Macs and donuts together. Does that make any sense?
Just like you ordering DoorDash on a daily basis, Phil, that makes no sense. And then you had that stupid eat Feast with the King or whatever that crap was. That didn't make sense neither.
Morally, does that make any fucking sense? To have two guys sitting down doing that? No. They're killing themselves, right? It's awful. Why would they be doing that?
Oh my god. Oh my god. The hypocrisy in this video. Oh my god. He's pointing at so much of what Mike and EDP are doing wrong, and yet this dude does the same exact thing. The amount of gin he drinks, the amount of food he eats, and I hate to bring this up, I can't believe I'm about to break my rule again. Look how big his wife is. So guess what, Phil? You pretty much look at the mirror at yourself, but you want to point at somebody else. Nah, bud, this is just like you as well, okay?
Then I guess they released a bunch of other like production stills of like EDP.
I am not gonna do it again with his fucking snorting.
The camera dramatically for what's going to be a documentary, and you know, to be honest here, I think that's about it for me. Well, you're going to tell me that there's going to be a guy who essentially has been exposed on the internet, canceled because of it. What's the story to tell there? Exactly. Maybe, unless there is some secret story that no one knows about, that actually this whole thing was a screw job and none of it was true, right? At all. Then I guess that's the documentary, right? I guess that's the story. But unless that's the story, I don't think there's anything to tell there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people already on the internet are very upset with Mike Klum basically saying, why are you giving this guy a venue to be heard when basically we were done with him years ago? Like, we don't want him to have a venue. We don't want him to have a way to speak out about anything because he's a scumbag, essentially, from what was found out about him, right? Again, I don't know, but I'm just speaking from, you know, what I've heard on the internet. So
the only reason why I let him continue is because I want you guys to hear the stupidity that's flying out of his mouth. Because if I continue stopping and pause to give my 2 cents about it, this video will probably end up being almost 40 minutes long. He loves to speak both sides of his mouth and doesn't realize he's just much of a shit eater as they are.
That's what's funny. The Boogie stuff, EDP stuff, that shit has nothing to do with me or my content. Or
yeah, the PDF stuff, yeah, you don't do that, thank goodness, or you really be talked about. But the other stuff you do, yeah, you do that, Phil.
Right? At all. Couldn't be further different from my situation. At all. You know, I have a full-time, very, you know, productive business.
Full-time productive business. If you mean on the art of begging and pretty much stealing money from your fans, yeah, you perfected that. That's a successful business for you, bud. But if you're talking about an actual business, a genuine business, you have done a piss poor job. So poorly that you make Hippo USA look like a saint.
Successful. I have people who support me. I have people who love me in my personal life. My life is going good.
The people who love him in his personal life. I'm gonna save his mom and dad. I'm gonna leave them out of that. But nobody else in his personal life really loves Phil, other than Phil himself and his horse.
That there's thousands of people on the internet who shit on me on a daily basis for personal gain.
I don't do it for personal gain. I just do it for shits and giggles.
Everything's going good, right? I don't have a horrible story to tell about my sad, miserable life, about being accused of horrible things like pedophilia, like that, okay? So I couldn't be further from guys like that. So then why would I be making a documentary with someone who makes those kind of documentaries, right? And that's kind of the take I have on it. Like, okay, maybe the Boogie one was the first one, but you're going in a different direction. But now the next one is with a guy like EDP. It's like, what? Like, wait, what? I don't know, man. You know, so at the very point here, I'm very happy that I have not gotten wrapped up in all of this shit, you know?
No, you haven't got wrapped up in that shit, but you have gotten yourself wrapped up in multiple shits over what, 15 years? Yeah. I'm not even gonna bring them up because it's so well documented. Between the bankruptcy, you pretty much jerking off on May 1st to the side scroller's interview. Yeah, all this stuff is well documented, Phil. So, you know, I'm glad you didn't get wrapped into this, you know, blah, 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 whatever, but you're wrapped up in a whole bunch of other stuff that you've done to yourself.
Last year, they tried to get me to go on a stupid lol cow podcast. Thank God I made the completely 100% correct decision to not be involved with that kind of crap. And I'm, you know, doing my own thing. I was interested.
You was only interested because there was $50K on the table. That's the only reason you was interested. Other than that, you didn't want to do it, not because of, oh, I didn't want to take this money from Keemstar. No, you actually had to oblige to a schedule that you had to get there by a certain time. And if you didn't, guess who would have called you out? Keemstar. So you didn't like that type of thing. Secondly, you had to work with other people. We already clearly know that you love to work by yourself. And thirdly, you pretty much are always talking about how much you need this money, that money. You wouldn't have liked the fact that they would got to cut. You was hoping you'll get all that money to yourself, though. So these are the three reasons why I believe you did not want to go onto the Low Cal podcast. Even though if you did go on it, it would have been very successful because you would have had your own little silly takes, which would have been interesting and funny. But again, Phil, you was thinking about you and yourself alone.
Doing, this documentary, if it was going to be what I was told it was going to be. But now when you're telling me the first two projects that Mike Klum is doing is literally two guys considered ginormous lolcows, not even, I wouldn't even say EDP is a lolcow.
He's not a lolcow, he's a PDF. Once you become a PDF, you can no longer be a lolcow and nothing else. You're pretty much that, and that's what's going to be known for the rest of his life, and he needs to stay off the internet. Matter of fact, in my humble opinion, he needs to go behind bars permanently.
People think of him as a heinous person, right? So, do I want to be on the string of documentaries about people like that? No.
And I'll say this one last time. You had the opportunity to do that documentary before he went to talk to EDP. Had you done that, it would have been fine for you, Phil. But no, again, you jumped the gun. You decided to quit at the very last minute, and it cost Mike Klum, again, time and money. As a matter of fact, money-wise, I think it cost him somewhere between 10 to 15K. I can be wrong. Yeah, again, you guys can comment down below in the comments. But yeah, Phil, that was all done on you.
Don't. And I think now I really looking at the situation, not only would it not have made sense for me to do the documentary because I don't know how I would have done it with my busy work schedule and lifestyle, it would have completely overworked me and kind of destroyed me, honestly, I think, right?
You're pretty much destroying yourself all by yourself.
Now seeing the string of stuff coming out of that documentary, it's like, I think I definitely made the right decision.
No. You actually made a very piss poor decision.
I think I made the right decision. I don't know. Maybe you guys disagree.
Oh, I definitely disagree. You made a very piss poor decision, but you have a history of doing that anyways.
If things did go forward the way that we had discussed, which is what I've been transparent with all of you about, that it was not supposed to be that kind of documentary about a lolcow or a horrible embarrassment or a person with horrible history. It was supposed to be, hey, here's a normal guy running a business, did it his own way, and over the years reacted poorly to the criticism on the internet, and then people just learned to hate him.
You're never going to be successful in this business
for reasons of personal benefit, and here's that story.
People just learn to hate him. Phil, the only reason why we can't stand you, we hate you, not because we just hate you for no apparent reason, it's because of your actions.
Right? Now, love him or hate him, go check out his content. If you like it, good for you, right? If you don't, oh well, at least you got to know his full story so you understand the references you hear all the time. Like, that was supposed to be the point, right? So anyway, I don't know. I'm actually, perhaps, right, did the right thing here, Because it's funny, like someone like Bill Williams says, Mike Klum is appealing to a certain type of audience and demographic. I don't think that the final product would have reflected what you intended it to be.
Then what should have been done? What would you want then, Phil? What would you have liked then? If you didn't want the documentary to go the way you wanted it, what would you have liked? Because I actually want to hear the stupidity out of this part.
The thing is, in life, you don't know. You don't know, but you don't take chances on. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's the stupidest thing to say. You don't know until you try. There are some things you do want to take a chance on because guess what? It could be very, very beneficial to you in the end.
Last year, I took a chance on an interview that originally I didn't even want to do. I was supposed to be a guest on a show. And it turns into this interview, and the interview essentially becomes a three-ring circus of detractor drama that then benefits detractors for how many months and ruins everyone's experience here on my content for like many months.
No, Phil, no. When you did the interview with Side Scrollers, it actually boosted you. It actually did help you out quite a bit for both you and Side Scrollers. But once Side Scrollers had that decompression, you completely did a 180 on them and pretty much ran their name through the gutter, through the dirt, and pretty much went right back to who you always known for, Phil. That's what you did. And I give Craig and Mike a lot of credit, but in the end, was it really worth it to do that interview on you? Maybe. Kind of find out they start showing their true colors. But maybe, but nah, I take it back. No, it was worth it in the end, because it's now pretty much documented for everybody to see and to come back to and pretty much laugh at just how pathetic you was in there.
I learned from my lesson on that. I really did. Like, if that hadn't happened, likely I might have gone through with this documentary. But after last year, I think I've learned my lesson to stay away from this drama shit. That it doesn't help anyone around here.
So you learn to stay away from stuff like this. So, Phil, I got some news for you, bud. And I hate to say this, and this might be mean, but I don't care. One day, bud, you're gonna kick the bucket. Just like I'm gonna kick the bucket. Everybody else on this planet is going to kick in the bucket. But the question is, what are you gonna leave behind? What are people going to know you for? Because right now, all you really is known for is 3 things: locale, asshole, and a beggar. That's all you're really known for. And also the person that, again, beat off on May 1st. That's what you really want to be known for, Phil? Really? Because that's going to be your documentary. Instead of actually having a proper documentary come out, talking about both sides of your life, so people can actually have a much better understanding. But right now you don't want to do that because you're hoping that all the bad stuff would die over the years. Guess what? It doesn't die out. It gets stored. It gets, put away so people can bring it back once again. That's why we still talk about these things. Matter of fact, I forget what year, a long time ago, you've given out empty game boxes. Let's not forget that, Phil. So no, guess what? It's time for you to do a documentary. Because if not, this is all you're going to be known for until the day you meet the maker. And I'm trying to be nice saying this to you, Phil. I'm actually trying to be nice instead of just really coming at you. But really, you need to think about it, bud, because number one, you don't have any kids. You really don't want to have kids at all, to tell you the truth. So you're stopping your wife from having that. You don't have any other siblings, just you. So just do some real thinking, Phil. Do some real thinking for once in your life.
Like I said, maybe there will be one day when I decide that a documentary makes sense, okay? Right? For now, I don't think so. For now, I don't think it makes sense. Number one, I can't fit it in with my life as it is. And number two, I believe it would very much just bring way more drama to this community than anything else. And what's the point of that, right? Who benefits from that? Some people do. Boogie thought he did. Boogie thought he benefited from drama. I think that's the problem. Like someone like Boogie, he literally thinks that all he'll ever get attention for the rest of his life is fabricated drama on the internet. So he just keeps fabricating more so people keep paying attention to him. Him sitting down with EDP to eat a bunch of fucking Big Macs and donuts, it's fucking disgusting.
Just like when you eat your food online, it's fucking disgusting.
Immoral. But oh, look at these two lolcow guys. Let's laugh at them and talk about them today. So he gets attention, right? Like, that's not me. I'm literally the polar opposite. I want nothing to do with that.
You are not the polar opposite. You're just another locale, just like Boogie and Wings.
I just want people to come by and hang out with me and enjoy games and a fun discussion during a podcast. And I want to branch out over the years. Now I'm doing throwback content because I'm such a long time and prolific creator. I want to
You're pathetic.
No, you're very boring.
Topics of discussion as we've talked about this year. I don't want to be a guy that literally the only reason you'll pay attention to me is because I did something embarrassing on the internet today. Okay?
You do that quite often. Matter of fact, you embarrass yourself 3 times and then 3 times during the week when you stream, bud.
So, there you have it. I'm avoiding it. I'm glad I did.
No. You try to avoid it and then you go right back into the trap.
So what is it with these people who think that life is black and white? Because, like, literally now people in the chat, oh, so that means Mike Klum is a detractor. No, it doesn't, stupid. And just saying that is incredibly stupid.
This is just as stupid as you did for not doing the documentary.
What are you talking about? Life is not black and white. I keep telling you this. There's many shades of gray and many compromises and middle of the road things. This is where reality is. It's not either someone absolutely loves you or absolutely hates you. Either they're your biggest fan or your biggest detractor. No. I feel like Mike Klum would have done a neutral take. I do believe that. Like, he would have done a neutral take where...
So, okay. Give us your example of a neutral take. Because I already gave my example what a neutral take should be.
For yourself, right? But the fact is that when his history is Boogie and now EDP, these guys that are, totally different from me, but almost similar situation to themselves, what does that mean for what this documentary would have been observed? Because here's the truth. In life, it's not about what's real. It's about how it's perceived. That's actually a really good point. It's not about what's factually true. It's not about what actually happened. It's about the perception of reality. Because it doesn't matter what the truth of the matter is. If everyone believes something else, then that's their reality. And that's the situation with me, is that even though I have nothing to do with Boogie, I have nothing to do with EDP, I have nothing to do with Wings of Redemption, I'm nothing like any of them, people will constantly group me into them anyway because the perception is told to do that by a mob of people.
No. I'm not gonna let this continue because he's just being repetitive. Talk about the same thing. Talk about how he's not just like EDP and Boogie. No, he's not quite like EDP, but he's quite similar to Boogie. Again, a beggar, an asshole, and pretty much an outright liar. But anyways, I need to also clarify, ladies and gentlemen, why I haven't posted content in the past couple weeks. There was a personal thing that went on with my life that I won't go into great detail, but it got to the point where I overthink and thought myself into a depression for a while, and I didn't have the motivation to make any vids. Even though I had them saved, I had no desire to edit it because I kept overthinking things and was being way too hard on myself and tried to, put my mind going into work and stuff. And that didn't work. It was pretty much like putting a band-aid over an infected cut, and that doesn't help. You had to take the band-aid off and, treat the cut. And I decided to say, you know what, let me go talk to somebody. And I have been talking to some people that's been helping me out, motivate me to get me back to my normal self. And it's going to be an ongoing battle because one of my biggest problem for me is I tend to overthink things and be really hard on myself where I shouldn't, And I want to tell anybody else that does go through depression where you're really hard on yourself, don't. If you get to that point, definitely talk about it. Go out and talk to a friend, wherever. Don't try to bury yourself with work or go into a bottle or go to weed and stuff. It doesn't help. It just covers up. You need definitely go out and talk to somebody. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys still supporting me over these past few months. I really do appreciate the love. Stay tuned. I got more videos coming in the pipeline, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.